And welcome back. And we are now at part 6 of this week's new comics, bitches! So here we go. Captain America and Bucky, number 620. So Captain America, his solo comic, hasn't officially ended with 619, is just basically refocused its purpose into Captain America and Bucky. And basically what we were treated to, which I was pretty sure that we were going to. So we got Ed Brubaker and Mark Andreyko teaming up to write Captain America and Bucky, and Chris Samney, whose art that I've just recently been exposed to and have been really enjoying the hell out of it. Basically giving us the beginning of Bucky's career, basically his life. That he grew up as an army brat, and sister and everything like that, and he lost his mom at an early age. His father was obviously in the army, and little Mr. Barnes was a bit of an upstart. He was certainly not a bully, but he wasn't he was no shrinking violet either when it came to a fight. And he just but the whole time he just kind of wanted his he didn't want to be a disappointment to his father, even though he sensed that he was. And then one day, of course, his father never came back, and he kind of became he stayed at Camp Lehigh as their again their kind of mascot. And Bucky's he's running he's selling cigarettes and girly mags and so on and so forth. And but again, he keeps getting into fights and so on and so forth. So seeing what Bucky can do, they have and that he has proficiency in hand-to-hand combat, and that he's actually a really good marksman. They decide when he's 16 years old, they ship him off to England for training with the SAS. Basically Special Air Service, the elite, the Navy, kind of like the special forces of England, to train. And he did this training and excelled at it. And then one day they take him to see kind of what his assignment is really about. And he sees a newsreel of Captain America. And he wonders for a few moments, okay, Captain America's cool and all, but he's smashing he's smashing spy rings and everything like that. He's doing it all in the U.S. Why isn't he off fighting the Nazis? What's the good of having a super soldier if he's not fighting with the rest of the boys in Europe or in Asia? And then one day, we actually are treated to the final page of, a bit of the final page from the Winter Soldier arc of Brubaker's, where he's being tested against 5 or 6 guys, beating the crap out of all of them. And we see Cap ride up, and he's he sees this he sees this kid, and he and basically they tell him, they tell young Bucky that you're going to be partnered up with Captain America, if you can pass muster. And that's where the tale of Bucky begins. This is a really, really well told story on every level, from story to dialogue to pacing to art, to artistically. it's great to look at. It's great to read. I love learning more about Bucky. And I have a really strong feeling that I'm going to really love this comic, because it's just, I mean, even just with it in my hands, it's hard to put down. It's hard to stop reading it. I've read it a couple times because it's just that good. It's such a strong comic. So again, if you haven't been reading Captain America and you really need a good jumping on point, first of all, get yourself issue #1 of Captain America, the solo series, and get yourself Captain America and Bucky 620, because this is a great jumping on point, as you kind of knew that there would be because of the film and everything like that. But then that's another thing that I wanted to bring up in this video, is that this, along with the Captain America new solo comic, these don't feel like they are extensions of the film, that they were just put out there for marketing purposes. These actually feel like a natural progression for these stories. Now that Bucky, as an adult, is dead, let's see what he was like in these days. Let's go back to the war and see what was going on, because you only got to see glimpses in Brubaker's run of the two of them fighting the war together. And so that's why one of the reasons I think it's going to be magical. Now, this is the next comic is one of my 3 books of the week. So it's 3 books of the week this week. That's how good this week was. And this is just on story point's sake. This is definitely probably one of the more controversial issues that I've read recently, and that is this is Secret Avengers number 15. Nick Spencer continuing his run. This is my favorite issue of Secret Avengers yet. And basically, again, we're dealing with Black Widow, as we talked about earlier on. We're dealing with her dealing with the death of Bucky. Basically, this tabloid rag, it's kind of like a TMZ-esque website. They have posted a comment that Bucky is not dead. And she is basically coming to kind of wreak havoc. I mean, she's ready to unleash hell on on these people, because potentially they are tarnishing Bucky's name. Now, a lot of questions about First Amendment rights and things like that are covered in this issue, and the insensitivity of the press to real tragedy, especially this tabloid shit that comes out, which is not to say that I don't enjoy like TMZ. I actually kind of watch the show, and I don't really go to the anyway. That's not the point. The point is, I mean, again, the legality of her visit is brought into question several times, and she says, basically her last word would have been, stop, don't do this. If you do this, then the hell with you. Because you're probably not going to anyway. But where the real controversy in this issue comes from, where the real focus of this issue is brought to attention, is the big debate. The debate that every comic fan has ever had, the one that's that always seems to reach out and grab us, and that is Nick Spencer dares to walk into the fire of like I said, the greatest fanboy controversy subject of all time, the death and resurrection of characters. Basically, a staffer on this website says, my grandfather, he loved Captain America. He, was in the war and everything like that, and and he died, and he had cancer and everything like that, and he died. But Captain America came back, Bucky came back. They're just basically they're saying you're not human. You don't die in the same way that we do. Because of all of the resurrections, and and some of the other staffers, they speak up and they say, she's right. It's like you guys just you get a nap for 6 months, and then you guys come back, and talk about Jean Grey and Daredevil and Hawkeye. Even though Hawkeye never really died per se, he kind of did in Shadowland, but Adam Warlock, Colossus, Betty Ross, and basically the argument here is it's both a pro and a con argument. And that's where this issue really shines. It lights up like a huge bonfire. It's dispelling certain myths while embracing them at the same time. It's a very thin line to walk down, and Nick Spencer just, he does it with such poetry and depth and intelligence. I mean, like I said, I'm not going to get too much into the argument itself, but how do you feel? I mean, as a fan, obviously you're watching this blog not because you like to hear me talk for hours on end, but because you're interested in comics, you have a love for comics, you have almost a need for comics, as I do. I've made it a point on Twitter, and I said this, those of you who do follow me on Twitter, it's Donnelly 92274 if you care to follow me. If you're on Twitter, you care to follow me. Facebook, it's James Donnelly. I'm there. One of the things that I do on Twitter is I will just say, pretty much each week from here on out, I started doing it this week, and I'm going to do it every week from here on out, is just take a few moments to say thank you to everybody who's putting comics up out there, whether it's shit or whether it's the greatest thing ever done, to let them know that what they're doing, they're not just doing for themselves. They're making a living. They're trying to put their voice and their vision out there, but they're doing it for us. We are the recipients of their creations. And I would, it could be easy, it could just be as easy to say that I should do that for filmmakers, and I should do that for TV show people, or I should do that for authors. But comics, are kind of my life's breath. If there weren't comics, what the hell would I be doing right now? Yes, there's TV, and there's a lot of really good TV. Yes, there's films. I love movies. But nothing stops my heart or makes it skip a beat more often than comics. And I think it's something that we should all celebrate. I celebrate it by coming here every week to tell you guys, hey, these are the books I got. This is what I think about them. Should you get them? Should you not get them? It's that important. And an argument like this in Secret Avengers 15 is equally important. So, I mean, like I said, best issues of Secret Avengers yet. I'm still scared for when Warren Ellis takes over. But excellent stuff. Thank you, comic creators. We're going to be back with our 2 books of the week.